All right. So here's the second attempt at trying to do this behind
Yes,
the
sir.
music, and I'm with a very great, wonderful man of God. No, I'm just- anyway, great, wonderful musician, artist, composer, producer, YouTuber, educator, all the above. Mr. X.E.L.
Oh,
Hey
in the
man, and
building.
we tried to do this once before you all, and I even thought about releasing some of those clips, and I said, "Can I edit this out where like you know?" But it was some good points, and I was so mad, but it's okay, it happens. But this time we're gonna touch on some things. This series, "Who's Behind the Mind of Music," was a thought that came to me a few years ago thinking about musicians, thinking about artists that are upcoming and the struggle, because there's always a struggle behind putting music together, releasing music, and the mental capacity that you need in order to do this. It's not always easy. So I wanted to bring in certain artists. Every artist in me is to me is major. So this is a major artist. This is a major producer. Okay. Now you haven't seen him all over the world yet, just because maybe you don't have on my glasses.
Oh
Maybe
wow.
you need special. No, just I'm just but this cat is definitely growing on YouTube, and I'm gonna give him a chance to talk about himself, how he came about, from the young ages, from New York. New York,
BK.
stand up. Oh,
BK to
that's
the
right.
fullest.
That's right. Ain't nobody out there. I'm so used. Sometimes I'm used to talking to people, and I feel like I hear applause. I should have put my sound effects on so I can hear applause in the background. Yeah, exactly. I ain't got my splice on the side. Maybe I would have played something. I'm gonna stand back. I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna put full screen on my friend here so he can talk about just a little bit about his life and how he came into music and et cetera, et cetera. So here we go. There we go.
What? I got the screen. What's up, people? It's your boy X.E.L. O. Just Norm was so grateful just to have me on this platform doing YouTube for a minute now. It's actually coming up on 2 years I've been actually doing cakewalk videos on YouTube. I think that's pretty good feat. A lot of people I've seen come and go, or they'll post like one or two videos and then they just completely disappear. But I've been hanging around there trying to teach you guys whatever I kind of know about Cakewalk, how to use it, how to make it function. I see a lot of people doing, regular recording, like recording guitars and vocals in Cakewalk, but no one really talks about the aspect of the hip hop, R&B, urban kind of music being made inside of Cakewalk as well. So I wanted to definitely shed some light on that, let people know that there's other DAWs out there instead of just FL Studio and Ableton. There are other DAWs. Other things work just as well as those. So I try to give people as much hope as I can. You don't have to actually be a millionaire to do all this. You can actually use free software like I and JustDaNorm have been using, just as a whole slew of other people have been using this DAW to make hits, if you will. But yeah, so originally born and raised in Brooklyn, moved out to Texas. I'm currently in Texas. Big TX in the building. Big up, shout out to Dallas Fort Worth. But yeah, that's pretty much the story I'm at right now. I use a whole bunch of different DAWs. I use a whole bunch of different equipment. I've been in numerous studios. I've worked with many artists. Um, yeah, I mean, I've used so many different things and learned so many different things and met so many different people. There's not really much to say after that, but I'm here.
So yeah, this is the man right here. So and so now he's talked a little bit about how he came to get into this thing on YouTube and stuff, and I'm gonna tell you how I came across him. Um, so when I started my YouTube channel eons ago, like many YouTubers have, you created an account, you created a Google account, you had your little email and stuff, you had it all hooked up, and you was like, "Yeah, I'm finna do this thing." You post one video, and then 3 years later, you posted another. So that's my life. That's how it was for a long time, up until the pandemic hit and we were all quarantined. And when
Mhm.
we were quarantined, it's like we went through all these series of creative decisions that were made. Like me and my wife and our kids, we were like, we're gonna be planters, we're gonna be gardeners now. We're gonna plant. We got this apartment and we really ain't got much space to plant anything. But we went and bought all this stuff. We tried to plant, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna do that. And then that didn't last that long because eventually the plants died, and I wasn't taking care of them like I was supposed to. But then I said, okay, you know what? I need to get back into YouTube, and it started with um, one of the first videos that I can remember, not one of the first videos, but one of the first ones that like actually started to pick up momentum, had nothing to do with music, right? It was about how to fix an Amana washer and dryer. That's what it was
Ah.
about. So, and it wasn't something I was planning to do. It was just something I felt was valuable information because I was looking up different videos and I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. I called a repairman to come out. Um, Make a long story short, my dryer was, it wasn't heating anymore. It would heat
Mhm.
every now and then. The washer was banging, boo 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 boo, stuff
Yep.
like that.
Cycles off. Yeah.
Cycle everything. It wasn't completing a cycle. Called a guy out and he was like, "Yeah, man, it's gonna be 300 something dollars to fix the washer." And the dryer, he was like, well, I gotta come back out and look at that because that could be anything." And he was like, yeah, my best bet is like just get a new washer dryer. So I said it's gotta be something simple. So me, I've always been a person to take apart stuff and try to figure it out. So I looked at the schematics and then I end up taking it apart. And I thought to myself, I said, why don't I film this while I'm doing it? It might not be the
Mhm.
best quality. I have my iPhone, hey, it's all you need. YouTube is
Yep.
this is all you need. Or your Android. But the
Yep.
iPhone would do you better though if you get the iPhone though. But anyway, I
Ah.
had I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Somebody's gonna shun me for that. No hate comments in there. They're gonna be like, haters, haters, haters. No, I love my Androids too. I was Android as well for a while. But I pulled this phone out and I made a video of it. At that time, I think I had 9 subscribers or something like that. 14 subscribers, maybe. I don't even know what I had. But anyway, the video started to pick up in search. So, and then after that, I posted 2 videos about that. And then I started posting other videos in different areas. Like I did my like, kind of like vlogging where this is about me and my life and my family and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff, it was there. I wasn't really doing nothing. And then it came to this video that I made because I have a Yamaha MX61 keyboard. All right. Yamaha was a great board. I got it brand new. Within a few months, one of my keys started having problems.
Mm.
So take it to a repair person? Nah, I can't do that. I've done that
Yeah.
before. Done that before. And they'll fix the problem and it'll be great. But then something else will go wrong later on. So I opened the board up and I started looking at the contact strips that were in there. But if you get a can of compressed air, you can start spraying, the electronics out and stuff like that. You could do that for mixers or keyboards or anything that might collect dust.
Just yeah.
And when I created that video started to get some traction. Um, and from there, I kind of started shifting towards music. But now I've been an avid Cakewalk user since the 90s. All right. So my dad
Mm.
was using Cakewalk
Yeah.
since it came out, basically. So I've always loved it. And I was saddened when, make a long story short, Cakewalk passed away, but then it was reinvented
It was
by a
revived.
company called Bandlab. Bandlab, took over, and at first they were saying, "You know what? Goodbye to Cakewalk." And then a few months later, Cakewalk came back out. But this time, a free doll, you all free. So and it's got amazing features in it. And X, I mean, does a whole lot of video tutorials.
Yeah.
And I came across his tutorials, and I came across Creative Sauce, and I came across a few others. And then I was like, okay, well, I can make a tutorial. I said, "That's right." So I said, "Let me make a tutorial." Woo, when you go back and look at your old tutorials, you was like, "Oh my god, what was
Yeah.
I
What was I
doing?
doing? What was
What
I
was I
doing?
doing?" And I like, this angle right now, I didn't have a green screen then or this little
Mhm.
whatever, this little cover behind me. My computer area was totally in a different direction, so you saw the rest of my junk apartment. You saw toys and coats and all that kind of stuff like that. But eventually those videos started to pick up. Now they didn't pick up until like maybe a year later. So
Yeah.
uh, keep in mind, those that are your YouTubers and you're trying to figure out like when is your video gonna do something. It might not happen to 2 years later. It
Yeah.
might start to pick up because people are searching for that particular thing. But I came across this man and I was like, because one of the first videos, and correct me if I'm wrong, was dealing with FL Studio, right? Was that
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So like the first video, and then um, and we talked about this last time, but you tell me the story. Who helped you to Cakewalk? Like how did you find the new Cakewalk by Bandlab? Somebody helped you to it, I think, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had Cakewalk. I've been using Cakewalk for years as well.
Okay.
When I got my audio interface, it came with Cakewalk, so I was like, all right, cool. I'll use that to do my mixing and mastering kind of things. But I always made beats in FL. I never thought of using Cakewalk as a DAW to actually make beats in,
Uh-huh.
just because I've never seen anybody do it. That is, like kind of like Pro Tools. You don't really see people making beats in Pro Tools. They just use it to record, vocals, guitars, things like that. So
Yeah.
I felt Cakewalk was in that same lane. And then I ran across a video by Bon Gonzo. Shout out to Bon
Uh-huh.
Gonzo.
Bongonzo.
And he was making a beat inside of Cakewalk. And I was like, oh, you can do that, huh? So I figured that, let me just try it out, see if I can actually make some beats in there. And I think that was like my first video, like FL producer tries Cakewalk. I think that was my first
Mm-hmm.
like Cakewalk video. And the beat came out pretty dope. But, it doesn't really matter what DAW you're using, but
No?
it's just the fact that I could actually maneuver in it to make a beat was like the whole
Awakening.
thing to me. Yeah, I was like, oh, so now I don't have to actually go to FL to make a beat and then bring it into Cakewalk and then track it out and do all those other things, then record vocals or sending this stuff out to other people. I can just have everything done in the DAW. I don't have to jump back and forth, and I felt that was much needed at the time, and it also helped a lot of other people out that were using cracked versions of FL Studio, and I have no idea why people decide to do this all the time. And I follow a couple of Facebook groups that actually have FL, and like every comment is, "Hey, do you have a crack? Hey, do you have a crack?" Hey, I'm like, what is going on? Like, is that all you guys do in FL is try to find the pirated software? So why don't you just
Hey,
use Cakewalk where it's free? You don't have to worry about that,
yeah.
and you have unlimited access to the DAW. You can actually save your files, unlike in FL, or you can have more than 8 files if you're like in Ableton or Cubase.
Yeah.
You can actually use other VSTs if you're using Studio One, the free version of that. So I mean, all these DAWs have flaws to them basically when
Yeah.
it comes to like doing free stuff,
Yeah.
except for Cakewalk. It's just open.
Yeah. And knock on wood that Cakewalk doesn't get smart again and say, hold on, weren't we charging $500 for this price before for producer edition?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
But
okay.
you remember all the things that came with Producer Edition. So you
It
had
came with a lot. Yeah, because you had
like
Dimension, you had Rapture.
Rapture, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you had it was
That
so many. You had
DX,
samplers then too as
yeah,
well.
that
Samplers that came with
DXI
it.
thing, whatever. And you had the Cakewalk Studio
Uh,
pianos and stuff like that. You
yeah,
had
yeah, the V
the
vocal.
the ZT3.
ZSTA 3, I
Yeah,
think, something like that.
yeah,
I
I
still
still
use
have
it.
those. I
Yeah, I
still
still
have
use
them.
it,
I
yeah.
don't I don't use them because I don't think it's fair for the people that that just came
Yeah, I
on
mean,
Cakewalk
it's
because they
yeah,
don't
but I
have the
mean
access to it. So
yeah.
I don't really use it in my videos, but I have it. It's just
Yeah,
it's
you
just
got a
sitting
lot
there.
of stuff, man. I saw one of your last videos. I said, "Dang, boy, you was like, hold on, let me find this plug-in real quick."
Yeah,
25 hours later. I was
basically.
just
Yeah.
so I
I
was
think
like,
I have like 800 plugins right now, 800 and counting, something like that.
yeah, I've been kind of sparse about trying to add extra plugins, and I think it's mainly because I'm trying to gear towards the beginner in Cakewalk. And
Mhm.
when I had, and I rebuilt this system. So when I had the old system, I still had like Sonar. I had Sonar 6.0 on there, and I had
Mhm.
Sonar X3 on there. So I
Yep.
had all these extra plugins. And then when I redid my system, I didn't have those anymore. So and I was like, um, well, I'm not gonna worry about it. I can build up, but
I do wish they bring some of those things back. Like I want to get I've never used it, like the EQ that they had. There's like a separate EQ
uh-huh.
where
Yeah,
it
I know
had
what you're talking about.
Yeah, and high dynamics in it and everything. I'm like, "Oh, why don't they bring that back?"
I
Bring that
mean,
back.
yeah, I mean, if you had access to the one any of the older,
Yeah, I
versions, I
didn't
mean, this they still
yeah,
would work.
yeah, I didn't have that though.
Okay.
I didn't have, like, the full blown I had, like, the regular, like, producer edition kinda thing. I didn't have
Mhm.
the one that had, like, the brick wall limiter and all the other extra special effects stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
platinum, I think it was platinum, right? Was it
yeah,
platinum? Yeah. Yeah,
platinum version.
I didn't have the
Yeah, 'cause
platinum.
it's that was like, I think that one was like $600 if I'm correct, or
Something like that.
close to $700. 'Cause I know the producer edition, but that was where most everybody had. My father had producer,
Mhm.
my old percussion teacher had producer, and then a friend of mine, a drummer friend of mine who actually started off teaching me drums, he
Mm.
had producer. And I
Yeah,
remember, you talking about the crack version, but I wasn't trying to get the crack version. I was trying to get the
exactly.
real version, but I
Mhm.
kept asking them, "Why don't I have a copy of this?" Like, I'm going to my old high school teacher's house, and I'm helping him out because every time I turn around, something's wrong with Cakewalk, and he's like, "Man, I lost the sound. I can't get the sound working no more." And I said, "I'm helping you out. Why don't I have a copy of this software? I'm on it more than you are." Shoot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then they gave me a copy, and then it's like I had all this extra software. I had Dimension Pro, like the full license for that. And
Mhm.
you know what? I don't even know where the DVD is for it now. So, but
I don't know where mine is either. I mean, like, I have the Dimension thing, but I don't remember the license and stuff for it. Like, it's somewhere in the midst of the jungle.
yeah, so I'm like, well, there's too many free plugins now that I
Yeah.
ain't got to worry about it. And you hip us to a lot of free plugins, so and I
Yeah.
appreciate you for that because I'm trying to steer away from, when I add new things. Like I made a video about doing notation for drums because I've been working on
Mhm.
a drum series. I just finished
Yeah.
uh, 8 ways to record drums, basically in Cakewalk. So trying to focus more on particular instruments step by step. But one of the videos that I introduced, and people were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is cool, this is different." But I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't want to introduce too much new stuff because somebody is going to be lazy like me, and
Mhm.
I'm talking about myself, and they're going to say, "Yes, there's all these free plugins out there, but I don't really feel like downloading them."
That is it, and I
I'm
realized
like,
that myself, like, one of my better beat making videos is, like, the TTS-1.
uh
I'm
huh.
like, why is this one more popular than, Serato
Well,
sampler? Is
because it's relatable, and then the thing
Mhm.
about TTS is, you can get in there and adjust some things, and like I tell people, I'm like, look, no sound is stuck the way it is. You can readjust the sound a million
Mhm.
different ways. You add like compression and EQ and delay or reverb or saturation. Like you can manipulate the sound so much
Mhm.
that the original sound that the original hand clap that you chose that sound like it was really somebody beating on the trash can. And now it don't sound like that trash can no more. Now it sounds like the president has came in and clapped his hands. And now it
Mhm.
sounds like royalty now. So, but I'm saying, like don't feel stuck with you know, like, oh, I'm limited. I don't know what to do. I got to have all the sounds out there because you don't have to have
Oh,
all the
man.
sounds. You don't have to have all the
It
sounds.
I
You
mean,
can do
it
so
comes to
much
a
with
point where you almost have too many sounds. Like,
too many sounds.
I know people that do, like, reviews, and they have thousands of
Hmm.
VSTs on there, and I'm like, "Hey, do you still use this?" They're like, "I haven't used that in months." And it's
Since
like,
that video,
yeah,
yeah, that's because it was
it's
it was
just too
it was
much.
promotion based. Yeah, you know.